Thank you for tuning in to Swan Dive, a Spire campaign by the Savage Godlings. This is an actual play podcast, and it contains mature content not recommended for underage listeners, and anyone squeamish about the general sorts of unsavory acts that take place underneath Revolution. Thank you for tuning in, and please, enjoy. The west is from whence most the drow here once fled from, home to Ys and the Duchy of Alaquam and the many other proud bloodlines of Dark Elves. We still send our prayers to. Our homelands boil in civil war. We are helpless to assist, and beyond accepting the lucky broken ones who stumble away from terror only to crawl through the new horror of life in our once proud home of the Spire. To the south, the dog-like gnolls repelled the same northern invaders with technological demonology that rips the fabric of reality asunder to defend their glorious desert capital of Al-Mirah. To the east, the humans reverse engineers scavenged tech from the ancient domed arcologies they migrate between under the leadership of their wanderer kings. And to the north lie the arcane homelands of the High Elves, rich in the magic that has warped them to their conquering, rancid nature. The inverted reality of their journey through the afterlife leaves them distant from their human and gnoll cousins, and at arm's length from their ambiguous siblings in us drow. Haughty, hedonistic, and cruel in an alien fashion, the Aelfir are not welcome as our new masters of the new historied behemoth of a structure that is the Spire. Once, we drow ruled here in Dustera, our spider-blessed midwives raising royal spawn from the fertilized egg pouches of conquerors. The Aelfir ripped that power from us, bound us to cruel durances of labor, and banned vital portions of our religion and all those who followed them. Many of these worshippers fled into the bleeding, belligerent rip in reality the Spire sits atop, the heart. But many accepted the manacles of Aelfir supremacy and bided their time. The hatred and hope of the Dark Elvish people now lies in the hands of the Ministry of our Hidden Mistress, a clandestine organization dedicated to freeing the Spire at any cost and returning it to its rightful owners by any means necessary. Enough is enough. The drow will be free, and the Spire will be ours once more. Welcome, everyone, to the first episode of Swan Dive, a Spire campaign by us, a bunch of assholes calling ourselves the Savage Godlings. Today, we're going to be introduced to our characters, the world of Spire, and the world those individuals happen to inhabit.
Hey, I'm Bob. My name's Bob. Bob is my name.
Hi, my name's Nick.
I'm Randy.
Hey there, folks. I'm Taylor.
Fantastic. Yeah, this is our cast. We are a group of creatives, actors, etc. Been role-playing together for a while, and I think all of us individually have our own individual role-playing game careers. I personally am a huge fan of this game, this writer, this world, and I think we're all pretty excited to explore it together. So first off, I want to start with something that I am a big believer in, that any campaign should establish before you move forward, especially in like the modern tabletop role-playing game climate that we live in, that of course being lines and veils. This is a safety technique, kind of originally, I believe, spawned from like the LARP community, and I think the vampire community was big, and kind of making sure this took place, especially in context with like sexual content. This game will have no sexual content like that I have any intention of, besides like fade to black or like mentions of sex workers, that sort of thing.
And I personally am not going to bring any lines or veils to the table beyond, like I'm not going to put any sexual assault in this campaign. That's outside of purview, I think, of any fantasy fiction personally. And obviously a veil on any self-harm and suicide stuff, just for obvious reasons. Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think for me, I agree. Sexual assault is like the main hard line for me.
Mhm.
Don't like that.
Not cool.
Not good.
Things that are bad.
No good.
I would prefer to avoid seeing an animal die if possible, but I understand if the story calls for it.
Okay. We can veil animal death.
Yeah.
Especially like pet death and stuff.
Yeah, it's just especially if we've known the animal for a while.
Yeah.
And, love it.
No old yellers happening.
Yeah.
We'll save that for later.
I'm gonna shoot my dog.
God.
Why'd you have to go after the boar? Why'd you have to do it? Yeller, come on, boy. Okay, so
first 10 seconds of the campaign.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a recreational yeller.
Just real quick.
Please no sue. Okay, anybody else have any lines or veils?
No, I think I'm good.
You covered everything.
Fantastic. Okay. So with that being said, of course, we have a content warning at the beginning of the podcast, but I would like to reiterate, Spire is a dark game, not like an edgy game. I'm not going to be, throwing a bunch of just gore for gore's sake or violence for violence sake by any means. Not the kind of games I'm interested in playing for fun, and I'm sure that's not the kind of game people are interested in listening to for fun. But Spire is inherently a game about revolution, which is a personal, violent, and echoingly violent act that tends to have a lot of dark consequences, and the things you tend to have to do to make that happen tend to be pretty heavy in nature. So obviously with those lines in place, the possibilities of torture, of graphic violence, of implied sexuality, of usage of substances, fictional blasphemy. I don't know if anybody's going to be affected by that sort of thing, but the whole gambit essentially on the table. So if that's not your bag, look elsewhere. Okay.
Are there going to be any funny monkeys?
Oh, I hope. Oh, fuck, I hope.
At least one.
There's got to be a funny. You got to put a funny monkey in there, Alec.
Just one.
I don't want to overload the audience with funny monkeys.
Just the one monkey. That's all we're asking for.
Just one monkey is what I'm asking for.
Throw a little funny monkey our way.
Damn, you guys are right. Okay, maybe one funny monkey. All right.
Yes.
Maybe he's wearing a little clothes or a little hat.
Maybe
he's doing something that monkeys wouldn't typically do. That would be good for him.
Oh yeah, like a monkey painter or something.
Yeah, that'd be good for maybe. Yeah, he's like a monkey fruit salesman. That'd be good.
Maybe he's wearing a little beret and smoking a cigarette.
But he's a monkey.
French ennui monkey.
So let's begin to introduce ourselves to the characters we are going to be following through our journey through Spire with the ministry of our hidden mistress. Nick, would you like to take it away?
Absolutely. Okay. So we are in the blue port of Spire, sort of the center of commerce, and striding purposely down the street is a drow with a good, solid, beefy dad bod. He's wide in the shoulders. You can see the kind of blue collar muscle structure, not so much designed for aesthetics as, crafted from years of labor. He's wearing generally kind of dark leather armor, and he's probably got a few scarves draped around himself just for the sake of, obfuscation in case he needs to hide his identity. This is Oren. He's a firebrand, and strapped to his hip is his service issue revolver from the conflict in a new job, and strapped across his back is a big old sledgehammer. So Oren is making his way to the low wall boarding house to meet with one of his old veteran friends. And yeah, he opens the door, walks in, and assumingly either tries to find his friend or tries to find a table.
Yeah, I feel like you probably prearranged where to meet in the low wall. And of course, the low wall boarding house is a big part of the blue wall, which, as you mentioned, the blue port, which, as you mentioned, is like one of the centers of commerce of the Spire. It's kind of ground level with sort of the rivers that run through. In opposition to the North Docks, which are specially patrolled by these knights that have a special arrangement with the Elfir management, essentially. But the blue ports are overseen by Azorites, these priests that serve the blue goddess Azor, something of a goddess of coin and commerce, which we will learn about a little bit later. But yeah, and the low wall itself is built into the walls of the city. And it's got multiple stories, and the stories themselves weave in and out with storage facilities and varying dormitories and all of this stuff, kind of scattered and in varying pricing tiers, if you will. Of course, with the lower parts being much cheaper. And I feel like you guys are probably meeting in the lower levels of the low wall, which of course you're not going to find a whole lot of guards, and there's not a whole lot of security to begin with. And yeah. So I feel like you probably find your friend pretty quick. Let's call this guy. Do you have a name by any chance?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let's be simple. What is the name of the CB from South Pacific? Billis? Is it Billis? Yeah. Let's go with Billis. I think that's kind of a
Dick.
fun name for this type. And yeah, I feel like you come into a very dimly oily lit Spire run down meeting room, probably a small circular wooden table and like the single lamp, and kind of sipping on a mug of something. You have to push aside a sort of one of those tattered canvas curtains, and Bill is probably like barely flicks an eye up and just kind of nudges ahead towards a seat on the other side of the table. Did you see him on your way in?
No, not quite, but I'm sure he's gonna be around here somewhere. I don't think the information I got would be wrong.
Yeah, I doubt it too. Walk okay?
Yeah, as okay as always. Had to duck around a few corners, recognized a few guards I knew running into in the usual ambushes and such. So, but once I got towards this part of the city, it wasn't as big of an issue.
Yeah, easy business once you're out of the row.
Yeah. So, what's our plan?
If he makes his way up here by himself, we invite him in. If he has a couple friends, we invite him in. If he has more than a couple friends, we figure it out from there, huh?
All right. Well, let's keep posted and hope his friend number is minimal.
I feel like Bill screams out, for a attendant, and eventually, kind of a whimpering drow comes in to take a drink order. Haven't been here too long, but seems there's a weird energy about the crowds.
Oh yeah, how so?
No. Seems like everybody's a little anxious. Quite a few guards out. A little bit more than I was expecting. Had to make our way out of here pretty quick.
Is there something going on that we should know about?
Probably. Can't say I know about it yet. Keep your ears down. Just one of those feelings, It's like back then. You'd wake up, smell some in the air. A little too quiet,
Know what you mean?
And then I feel like around that time, you begin to hear some footsteps outside in the distant tunnels. Alright, sounds like the rat bastard. Shit, what do you think he's more into? My beer? Or whatever the hell you're gonna be drinking?
Probably closer to your beer. Probably a safer bet.
Yep, you're right. Kind of pops that out. Hey, buddy, got a free beer for you. You want to swing in for a second? I'll get something for your friend, too, huh? And you hear kind of a muffled voice. And then, the Billis makes his way back in. He's got a pal, huh? You see the waiter, the attendant has finally come back with what do you think you're drinking?
Probably some kind of new jobby, like coffee,
Ooh.
drink, whatever.
Some kind of like pressed Nujabian, like, yeah, spiffy coffee thing.
Yeah.
I like to imagine the smell of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he comes back in with that, little steaming mug, and Billis points at him. Whoa, hey, buddy, you might not give me 2 more of these bad boys. Slaps the pint on the side and sidles back up, into a chair next to you. Take a seat, fellas. Take a seat. And in step a half-dressed, half-dressed guard, and a friend of his, also a burly guy, pretty loosely dressed. Yeah, you can see he also has a guard's club strapped in a belt, even though he's clearly not in uniform or anything like that. Both drow, obviously.
Mhm.
Um,
I think just real quick, while they were out, while Billis got up and went to welcome them in, I think probably slung the sledgehammer off my back and just kind of laid it up against the table.
yeah, nice. And you can definitely see the half-dressed guard eyeballing it as he takes a seat.
Oh, don't worry about it, man. It just, gets a little uncomfy digging into the bottom of the back.
Yeah, that's quite the piece.
It's not much. He gets the job done,
Yeah, we're both fellas that like getting the job done. So, tell me, fellas, it's a good day on the guard. You keeping the city safe? I suppose we have been. We've been doing our best, right?
Well, I mean, it's all you can do these days, huh?
Yeah, yeah. That's all you can do, right? Say, fellas, I got a little question for you, and I feel like around then, it's a little bit more time has passed. The attendant comes back, 2 more mugs, slides them, and then the guard and his friend start drinking. And the friend hasn't spoken, but he has not really taken his eyes fully off of the sledgehammer, and kind of eyeballing Billis, maybe a little too severely. And Billis is just not meeting his eyes at all. Listen, fellas, could you do me a favor and tell me if you recognize any part of this little story, right? So it's North Docks, right? And there's a fella's out with his daughter. Real simple. Just trying to get some lunch at a pub, make his way back, stop at the market, trade some things off. Now, he gets stopped by some guards, seemingly real nice fellas. And those guards decide to have a chat, see what he's carrying. When they see what he's carrying, they discover our poor friend has a little bit of coffee. Just a smidge. Nothing bad. Completely normal for the docks. But you know what they decide to do? They give him a hard time. And they confiscate what he had. What was going to feed him and his daughter for the rest of that week. Doesn't that sound like garbage, fellas? Well, sounds like he shouldn't have broken the law, How do you feel about that, Oren?
I don't know. If I were to be a guard,
Yeah.
I think I'd understand. Can't expect a guy to get through a day's work on the docks without, a little something.
Just a little pick-me-up, huh? I mean, look, you guys are swilling some of that wash. That's pretty normal, right? Seems like an awful harsh way to be treating your fellow drow. This is beginning to feel a little accusatory. And you see his friend finally says, "What the fuck are you guys up to, huh?" Kind of places a hand kind of open palmed on the table, sort of trying to assert dominance. Just don't feel right.
I'll kind of lean back in my chair. Are you accusing us of something? We're just buying a couple hardworking guards, a couple of drinks, having a conversation.
Feels like they're trying to accuse us of something. It seems to me like you're not appreciating our hospitality. And you wouldn't want to do that to us, would you, fellas? I mean, look how nice we've been. Right? And he and Billis looks over at you, kind of looking for your cue.
Huh. Guess we got different ideas of hospitality. and fuck it. I'm gonna throw my drink in his face, and then I'm gonna just kind of kick my chair back, and I don't know if this makes sense, but grab the sledgehammer and try to leverage it to kind of raise the table up, and then kick it at him.
Okay, yeah, like knock it up and knock it into them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can do that. Like, I feel like if you were to whack the bottom of the table, it would like flip face forward towards them, and then yeah, you could just punt. Yeah, absolutely. Sick nasty. Give me a kill roll. Is it kill in this game?
I think it's fight.
Fight. Give me a fight.
What domains are we in?
Commerce.
10.
Oh my gosh. All right. That'll first roll of the game. That seems like a pretty good omen.
Fuck yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Hell yeah.
Tell me how you absolutely nailed that.
Yeah, so I think he just kind of chucked the cup and all, just straight into this dude's face. And then, yeah, just kind of kicked the chair back out from under him, grabbed the end of the sledgehammer, and just sort of, did a little quick flip. That's why he laid it against the side of the table, so that way he could pull this move, and just kind of grabs it and just real quick brings it up under the table, flips it up, and then just straight leg kicks it right into the two guys.
Okay, give me a shoot. Give me a D6. Give me a D6 plus 1 for the 10.
Excellent.
Nice. Yeah, you kick the table so hard, and I mean the blow is so solid. It looks like it knocks the guard, the half-dressed guard, almost unconscious. Like essentially, he's slumped. Like you see his head goes and whacks against the side of the wall at a pretty indecent angle, and he kind of goes slumping down to the side of the wall, limp. And the other guy takes the hit also, super hardy. But of course, so he definitely takes a thump to his side. You see his shoulder jerk, and he screams out, looks over at his friend, and then reaches into his pocket and pulls his fists back up, covered in a thick, just solid rectangular brass knuckles. And he comes. He tries to come, flying at you, but Billis pops him on the side of his shoulder and sends him stumbling to the side. All right, let's fucking get going. And Billis pulls out from his bag a fucking sock, very clearly filled with rocks or something like that, and starts spinning it beside himself. And as the guy's stumbling, he just, swings it at him, and whacks him right in the fucking ribs. And you hear the wind burst out of his chest. And the guy goes stumbling back towards his friend near the guard, or the guard near the wall, and tries to catch himself on the wall. So yeah, you have a moment to react.
Sweet. Yeah. So, okay. So we've got homie almost knocked out, and the other guy, is he looking? How's he looking? Is he looking scared?
Oh no, the other guy, now that he's been whacked in the chest and he's like catching his breath, looks unbelievably pissed.
Okay. Yeah, then I guess I'm just kind of roll the shoulders, get into kind of drop low into a proper stance just in case. And just kind of lazily walk towards him. So as you can see, maybe you were a little bit on the nose with that one. Listen, I've got a message to deliver to you, and it's the same message I've had to deliver to the last 10 schmucks who've gotten the same treatment. Quit messing with people. You're not enforcing the law because it's right. You didn't need to take away Phyllis's Kathy. You didn't need to do that. You certainly didn't need to harass me. You didn't need to harass the countless other families and the countless other veterans who hang around the Red Row. You should know better than that. You should be taught better than that. And I just want to make one thing clear. You will not get away with something like this again. I have contacts. I've worked here. I know this area. And now I know you. So cut it the hell out, man. Thanks. And that is, I'm going to use force of personality to declare that I have the commerce domain.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, if you want to give me that compelled, I need to learn these skills, don't I?
Yeah, it's still compel.
Sweet, compel. Give me a compel.
This is that. That's 3, right?
Fantastic.
Ooh, 9.
Yeah, I think he kind of takes that in. There's probably a few beats of just sort of silence, and he just puts his brass knuckle thing back in his pocket. And as you see, his friend's eyes are fluttering open, and he just kind of stumbles down, eyes still on you, and then he pats the guy on the cheek a little. Get up, we're leaving. And the guy kind of, what the fuck is? We're leaving. And he pulls him up, swings his arm over his shoulder, and starts helping him out of the room.
Yeah. And as they're leaving, I'll just kind of, hey, spread the word, all right? Do your fucking job, but do it with some honor.
And then Billis whaps him in the ass with his bag of rocks. Yeah, it's right. It's a fucking honor. And the guy yelped. Yeah, sure. I'll tell that to the Aelfir too. And the guard, the friend of the guard shuffles away with the other guy.
I think just one little final moment.
Go.
I think he's gonna find either if there's like a proper bartender to be found, or if it's just one of the little attendants. But I think he's just gonna kind of pick the table back up and put the chairs back in place and go, sorry, probably could have done without whapping the table, but here's something to cover any damages. Thanks. And just slide him some silver.
Awesome. Yeah, if you just want to take a single silver stress, yeah, you can pay for that. And yeah, I think it's probably the attendant. You say, "Oh, yeah, that's no problem, thank you." And just takes your money and just terrified skimpers away.
Cool, yeah. And then we're gonna skedaddle.
Boom. Yeah, you and Billis make your way out real quick before other guards can poke their noses in. That's Orin. Does Orin have a last name?
We'll get there.
No rush. And now on to our next introduction from my good friend Bob. Could you let us know a little bit about Gertrisa?
Okay, so yeah, my character is Gertrisa. She's a portly old drow lady. I picture her having this silver hair that's like tied in a sort of bun behind her, just a sweet old granny lady is what she looks like. She's got these thick leather robes that are like, thick enough to protect from some light conflict. And she's, I think the most distinguishing characteristic about her is the fact that she has this massive dog on a leash that is essentially just draped with a white cloth over it that has the sigil of Charnel sort of where this thing's forehead would be underneath.
And is it a big dog or is it a hyena?
If you look underneath the cloth, yeah, it is a hyena, but
Got you.
Yeah,
Got you.
It essentially just has a blanket draped over it.
Yeah, it's a dog. It's a dog.
Yeah.
It's a weird dog.
Yeah, it's a weird dog. But yeah, she's got like a backpack with a bundle sort of tied to the side that like looking in passing could be just about anything, just like a long sort of paper thing, paper bundle tied to the side, but inside is actually just a massive war cleaver.
Oh, nice.
But
of course, an illegal war cleaver, to clarify.
Yeah, an illegal war cleaver that she just keeps concealed on her. But yeah, she's, aside from that, she just looks like a sweet old lady with a weird big dog.
Yeah, just a sweet lady with her big dog and her weird packages.
Yeah. And I think she's just sitting in a different location in this you said it was the low wall?
Yeah, the low wall. And I feel like it's big enough that it can have a piece of it sticking into the wall of, and I may say this and then look at the map and immediately say that's complete horseshit. But like it could be all the way up to Ivory Row if you need it to be.
Yeah, so yeah, I think she like I think a good place to start this scene sort of is her like making her commute from her home, which she's just sort of a squatter in one of these abandoned mansions that peppers the Ivory Row. She sort of makes her commute down into Low Wall. And yeah, I think she just enters a cafe and yeah, she just sort of orders a tea and she sort of sits around sipping tea and petting her dog.
Nice, yeah, and then you get the sights of Ivory Row, which of course is um, a part of the Spire that is Aelfir run, like most of it. But once upon a time, it was like the height of luxury within the Spire. It's of course become sort of decrepit, like Bob mentioned. There's all these old mansions. These like I see them as like McMansions that are rotting, and a lot of squatters and that sort of thing. And it's primarily run by these three huge crime bosses. And it's also sort of famous for this like roving pack of heathens and artists and poets and insane people that chase these beams of sunlight that come in from these spectacular moving windows that rove around the walls of this portion of the spire. Only part of the spire that does this, and people claim that the sunlight itself can give you these like lunatic visions and such. So Ivory Row is just sort of a weird bohemia, and yeah, and I feel like you see like a pack of these poets chasing a sunbeam like across a rooftop in the distance, like trying to throw out a rope ladder, and like one of them just plummeting and hearing like distant crashing and stuff. And a couple people in the street kind of watching them as they chase a giant arcing beam of sun.
Yeah, I think as she walks past them, she gives them like a little wave.
Yeah, one definitely waves back and then immediately like trips like off the roof, stumbling through the air. You know, classic lands in like a giant fantasy garbage bin. And then I feel like after a few moments, you see him pass, masked, in a black, almost like a hand carved obsidian, sort of like that struck look to the mask. Wearing a big wrapped woolen coat, and you can clearly see he's got some stuff packed underneath that coat. You can't quite tell what they are, but yeah, I feel like he passes you and to go deeper into this little cafe portion of the low wall sticking out of the wall.
Yeah. So as soon as I see him, I look down to my boy and I say, Belvin, and I catch his attention, and she just snaps her fingers and points to this dude.
Do you have that ability that immediately allows you to do stress, or is this a roll?
No. So I'm not doing stress right now. I'm just sort of getting him, getting my boy Belvin, sort of attuned to his scent.
Oh, okay, yeah, totally, yeah. Then I totally feel like he perks his head up and gives the air a quick little, kind of see like a tongue loll a little bit against the edge of the fabric of his little ghost drape. He's very clearly like really catching the scent, and I feel like he kind of starts doing that pupper thing where they like half sit up.
Hell yeah. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna follow this dude out of the cafe.
Okay. And yeah, I think he's going. He goes in for a moment. I think he clearly orders like, some sort of horrendous Aelfir alcoholic beverage from a woman, and he's eating probably like a little bit of bread at the table, having some sort of Aelfir breakfast equivalent. And probably takes him a little while, eats, drinks, and then eventually gets up. leaves the cafe and begins to walk further into Ivory Row.
Yeah, and she's just sort of walking. She's just sort of walking this big dog on the sidewalk behind him.
How close?
She's keeping a distance. I think she waits a good 15 seconds after he leaves the cafe before actually walking out the door.
Okay.
But yeah, she's just sort of walking her dog along these sidewalks, occasionally catching a side glance to make sure he doesn't catch on.
Yeah, I think you're far enough back that I won't make you roll. I mean, a woman walking a big spooky dog in a sheet, that's not too suspicious. And I feel like Ivory Row is populated enough with weirdos, especially during this part of the day. He'd probably get a while before he's going to be super suspicious. And I feel like, right, this is an order from Mr. Alas.
Yeah, Mr. Alas, for the listeners, being the crime boss that Gertrisa is in the employ of. Yeah, I think this is a hit put on by Mr. Alas.
Oh, absolutely. So I think it a few minutes. And it becomes obvious, it seems like he's heading towards a spiral garden. One of the, probably a medium-sized one. Clearly not in the best of shape like most things in Ivory Row. But nonetheless, a decent spiral garden. And I feel like he gets to the gates of the garden itself, and clearly, is waiting to be let in or something. He's just sort of standing at the gates.
I think she takes a look around, see if there are any people within eyesight.
There's probably a few people. Maybe there's a couple walking a ways down the street, but this particular part, now that you've gotten a little bit off the beaten path from that cafe, not too bad.
So I'm gonna hobble up to this dude, and I'm going to sort of tug on his sleeve and say, "Excuse me, sir. Could I have a moment of your time?"
Why, yes, I suppose. What do you need, precisely?
Why, I'm simply an old war veteran. Wondering if you would like to sit down for some tea and hear my story.
As delightful a proposition that sounds, I'm afraid I'm currently on my way into a previous engagement.
Oh, that is no trouble at all. Tell me, Sonny, what is your name?
I suppose you could call me Reed?
Well, Reed, I don't suppose, if it's not too much trouble, you could give an old war veteran some silver.
Some silver? Woman, do not beg. This is the Ivory Row, not some lower down Spire slum.
Oh, believe me, Sonny, I'm not begging. And immediately I think she's gonna snap her fingers again. Belvin sort of sparks into life, and he just sort of charges at this dude and tries biting at his leg.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, let's get a roll going.
He'll roll! And let's see. I do have so I have Sikkim.
Okay, yeah.
So that's with the brutal tag. So my attacks with Belvin get the brutal tag.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
What are the domains here?
So this is definitely high society, and yeah, I think it's just high society. I think if you were in the garden, it'd be different. But boom, you guys are rolling like crazy.
Hell yeah, that's a 9, baby.
Let's check out that damage.
Let me just check what the damage dice for my dog is.
Classic dog damage dice moment.
Yeah, because it doesn't say.
That you would think that's pretty vital.
Yeah, it tells me that like what my abilities do, but it doesn't actually say what the damage dice is.
You know, what is your war cleaver?
My war cleaver is that's D6.
You just go ahead and do that for now. We'll double check this later.
Okay, and I'm sorry, remind me what the brutal tag does.
That is 2 damage dice, pick the higher.
Okay, so my first one was a 6 out of 6, so
I think that'll do it.
So yeah, I just kind of snap my fingers, and I think Belvin just jumps up onto this dude, and yeah, just starts trying to maul him.
Yeah, that's enough damage to kill him. So if you give him the kill command, he can kill him.
Oh yeah, he just tears out his throat. Yeah, I think by this point, in the act of jumping up, he sort of threw the whatchamacallit, the sheet off of him.
Yeah.
So at this point, he's sort of revealed as just being this massive hyena. And yeah, he just sort of gnaws on him, and Gertrisa kneels down beside this man, and says, "Reed, may you sleep soundly in the company of Charnel." She kind of just sort of sets her hand down on his forehead, starts praying under his breath as Belvin just tears this man's body apart.
Yeah. Okay. And I feel like while you're doing the right, after a few minutes pass, I think a guard in the distance kind of spots you. But I think you spot him probably around the exact same time. So he's far enough away, where like you can hear him yell like a quick "Hey!" but you have plenty of time to react.
Yeah. So what are the surroundings like around here?
Right. So you're in front of the gate of Spiral Garden, which is of course kind of this absurd like artificial topiary garden filled with crystal and stained glass and the most artificial plants imaginable, and just but it's probably the only one nearby, and there's probably a couple of the decrepit mansions in the vicinity. This is probably kind of near residential stuff like the majority of Ivory Row. Are you looking for anything in particular?
Yeah, I'm just wondering I guess how easily I could lose this guy trying to. Because I feel as though she's familiar enough with the area that she could come up with a convoluted path.
Oh yeah, losing guards is part and parcel with this business. Yeah, you could definitely slip and disappear into the garden itself, or into like the in between mansion sort of stuff. Yeah, in between low fences.
Yeah, I think she's gonna try to slip in between some of these mansions and try to lose this guard.
Okay. Sounds good to me. So if you want to give me a pursue,
let's see. Do you think sneak might work better here, or?
I think pursue is explicitly for chases, right? Pursue is also used to escape when you're being chased, or to reposition, or it's also used to chase someone or something down, sort of similar to hunt,
Yeah. Well, either way, I would have 2d10, and it's a 5.
All right, that unfortunately is a failure. Yeah, give me a D3. Shadow. That's the one.
Shadow. Okay. Unfortunately, I do not have any shadow protection.
Okay. So take 3. I will roll the heralded d10 to, of course, determine whether or not you acquire a fallout. For people more acquainted with Resistance System, we are playing by the alternate rule set present, in which we aren't adding together all collective stress and then rolling the d10 against that total. We are instead rolling against the collective total of the individual stress tracks. For those of you that find that to be complete gibberish, I plan on doing a separate individual episode to explain the rules and inner workings of the system, so that way, none of this gets bogged down with that sort of stuff. But don't worry too much about it. That's just nerd noise. But yeah, you're good though. I do think he gets pretty close to being able to track you. Where do you feel like you flee into?
Yeah, I think she. I think Gertrisa is just sort of. I'm imagining this border around the Spiral Gardens as just like this massive like border of hedges with a gate fixed into it.
Yeah, sure. And there's probably like a wrought iron thing in the middle of the hedge, but yeah, you just can't see it. Just sort of artfully arranged so that it looks like, yeah, it's a giant hedge.
Yeah, so I think she tries going around the corner of this hedge, and like sort of weaving into the nearby like the spaces between the nearby mansions. But since she's old, I think she's doing more of a power walk and not like exactly running.
Hey, come back here, you old bitch! Fucking giant dog, come on! And yeah, I think the guard gets pretty close, but if you want to give me another pursue, I don't think he catches you necessarily. Yeah, but I think you're right, You're just power walking, so
That is a 9.
That'll do it! But it is the most delightful power walk you've ever seen. But yeah, I think it actually works once you manage to turn that corner. You're just sneaky enough, you know the area. Maybe you hide in something.
Yeah, I think as soon as she's certain that he's out of sight, she kind of just ducks underneath like the hedge right outside of a nearby property.
Yeah, and I think Belvin probably just like tucks up beside you, very quietly, like making noises.
Yeah, he just lies down beside me, and as we wait for the guard to pass by, yeah, she gives him a little kiss on the snout, and yeah, it's just good boy. Who's a good boy? And yeah,
He's just covered in blood. So yeah, you give him the smooch, and you just get just a nice big smear of that guy's innards on your face.
Yeah, she just sort of casually wipes it off with her sleeve. Or no, I think she has a hanky. Yeah, she has a hanky that she keeps on her, that she wipes it off with.
Nice.
And yeah, she's just waiting for this guard to pass by.
And yeah, I think he does.
I have this image of a final scene of her like going back to the crime scene and dragging this dude off to a more secluded space and just hacking his body apart. And yeah, just putting it all in her backpack and patting her boy on the head and saying, "Now why don't we go home and have a meal?"
My other excellent friend Randy, could you lead us into good old Nimvile?
Yes, I can. So we come in on to the low wall section of the Blue Market, and we pan up from the lower section up to the higher section, where we see sort of Italian villa-esque architecture, canopied, with a couple figures sitting up there at tables, and we see a figure in a group of this different fancy robes of various different textiles, silks, and other fine garments of various shades of blue. Our figure we zoom in a bit on, is wearing special kind of goggles. He has a kind of a gold plate over his nose. It's made to resemble his nose. His face is almost completely covered up in a vial or a veil. Sorry. Uh, so we don't see any skin on this person. He's wearing a bit of a turban that has coins and various other gold and copper and silvers hanging off from it. Uh, Flowing blue robes. He's got his one hand just kind of tapping its fingers away, and we see that he is wearing kind of large golden bands that almost look like a sort of kind of armor, but just gold with symbols of Azor on it, uh, all the way onto his fingers that have the kind of uh, uh, claw rings. So it's kind of giving him like this almost talon look as he just taps away on this table. His back is to the corner, and he's keeping an eye on people who would be behind him and out into the market.
Yeah, got to keep an eye out. You can't let anybody get the slip on you.
Oh no.
Okay, I feel like around once we get a good bearing of good old Nim Vile is when a much better dressed attendant than the one we got accustomed to while we were meeting Orin and Billis, probably something closer to a butler, comes in with a silver platter, atop it a steaming mug, clearly with the café you have ordered. The same drug discussed that Billis had been arrested for earlier. Brewed into a delicious tea. It's a mild depressant, sort of like kratom, right? So,
And
numbs pain.
I like to think that it's in a special kind of blown glass
Oh yeah.
cup that has a long straw kind of going through it. That like holding it out, it looks like they have a long pipe. That's actually a drinking vessel.
Oh, that's
Uh,
beautiful.
so they never have to like remove their veil, and so they just kind of stick the end of this glass end of this pipe in their mouth without ever having like to tip it to them.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think the attendant places the drink in front of you, nods curtly, and says, "You have a visitor, my lord."
Very well then. Send them up to me.
Absolutely. He disappears, exits the balcony, and then stumbling through the door is a massive, imposing, lovely figure. Would you like to introduce us to your good friend Tatters as well?
Yes, Todd. Nim being is a tall and very lanky figure, but this figure is much taller than Nim. They are just a brick shithouse. Um, Kind of a undercut hairstyle, but it's like a giant mohawk. There's a rainbow shades color, and it's very long, and they have it kind of parted off onto one side as they wear a hodgepodge of just like tattered armor, bits of chainmail here, bits of leather here.
They have just gotten it done armor wise. Like everything's
Yeah.
covered. It's not pretty.
Wearing some sort of what looks like a Scottish tartan, but it's really just a combination of just rags of various rainbow colors that are just all kind of like crudely attached together, and it forms almost like a kilt at the bottom. But you can see that they're clearly wearing pants underneath this, but this is they're all like just strips, so they kind of just flow in the breeze and everything. And this figure carries a large kind of a warhammer esque maul. Nothing really special. It almost looks like it's concrete that's been taken from the spire itself and is attached crudely to a shaft of some kind.
And just to toss one more thing into Tatter's design, just to up the fact that she's a knight of the North Dock, right?
Yes.
And one of the special things about the Knights of the North Dock is that throughout the Spire, weapons are banned. So no bladed weapons, no firearms. I mean, obviously you can have like a shillelagh or like a small club or something, but on the whole, no real weapons, with the exception of the Knights of the North Dock, which, because of the treaty they struck with the initial conquerors of the Spire, the initial Aelfir, they are allowed to carry bladed weapons. So I love Tatter's maul. But I think she should also have like a bandolier of knives that she throws, if you think that's cool. Just like, right, she beats the shit out of people with them all, but she has the knives to throw and to be cool, but also just as a fuck you to the guards, so she
Yeah,
can
so
have some blades.
something like almost like a big just Bowie knives.
Yeah, like 4 of them, 4 Bowie knives, and she can hurl them. Yeah, I feel like there's a hilarious mental image here if she doesn't even do like a normal like knife throw. If she just kind of holds it by the blade and throws it like a dart into things.
Oh God.
Because they're so big, like a javelin, like a tiny javelin.
Oh yeah. I'm down. Yes.
Yeah,
I love that image.
yeah, right. Just like thunk into things.
It makes sense with the knight, just like their rowdy behavior, where they just spend most of their time in taverns. Like that's the best way they're gonna know how to throw things, is just throwing it like a fucking dart.
Yeah, it's bar game training, and she uses it to peg people in the shins and stuff. And yeah, you're right. She's absolutely like the definition of a brick shithouse. Huge, muscle bound, glorious costume, and you can see she's got a big old strip of paper in her hand. Oi, Nimble! Seems like it's done. And she slaps it onto the table. Fucking Durain is gone.
Ah, where was he last seen?
No. You're mishearing me. He didn't disappear. He's gone. She unfurls the paper, and it shows a what is equivalent to a shipment notice, being bound to becoming one of the enlisted, and it's his notice of boarding some Aelfir transport and being shipped to the front.
I know several other Azurites who will be very happy to find that upstart is sent off to the front.
Certainly nipped that one in the bud, we did.
Aye, that we did. Now, did they discuss where they would wish the payment to be dropped off at?
No. Wasn't talked about quite yet.
All right. I have a feeling that they'll find us, and we will be ready to take care of our debts with them.
And at the drop of the hat, conveniently enough, our attendant, our butler friend, shuffles back in, a drow. I'm sorry to interrupt, my lords. I'm my lord and my lady. I apologize. It seems you have another visitor, my lord.
Yes, lad, send them up.
Of course. Tatter's visibly angry. And the drow awkwardly shuffles out. Son of a bitch. And takes a second, and the attendant returns, and there is an Azorite. I feel like you probably know this guy. I don't.
We've worked together.
Yeah, like not directly. Like I don't think it's appropriate to have your relationship be super personal at this point. But yeah, definitely like in a boardroom at the same party once or twice, right?
We've met.
You've met. Yes, and this guy doesn't wear a cowl. He's a drow, but he's kind of getting on. So his hair is sort of thinning at the top, but nonetheless, he does his best to clearly style the hair he has left. Shoulder length, but he's kind of elderly, so it's graying. But he clearly has it like curled, and he tries to pomp it. And he has a little bit of makeup on, just a little bit of rouge, a little bit of like white, probably too white foundation, and sort of that like Jacobean style. Also has the blues, but wears way more armor than most Azorites. You can clearly see his buckler bouncing off his hip, and behind him he also has a bodyguard. This guy much closer to your build, just a wisp of a man. Clearly a human, and he has short cropped black hair, and he's wearing a very long black woolen coat, also wrapped entirely closed around him, and he's standing very silently behind the man, who you recognize as Oscar.
The Azurite or the
The
bodyguard?
Azurite. Yeah, the Azurite. You didn't recognize the bodyguard.
Ah, Oscar. How are you?
I'm doing excellent, my lord. May I join you?
Yeah. Of course, and he just gestures to the other chair right in front of him.
Thank you. He pulls the chair out, I must extend my most heartfelt thanks as to your dealings with one Doreen.
The child was in over his head, giving us decent Azorites a bad name.
Yes, he certainly was. We won't have to worry about that anymore. And thanks to my patronage. And he grins a nasty grin. Yeah,
He can't see it, but Nimvile also gives a nasty grin as well.
two nasty grimacing freaks.
God, he's horrible. Oh my god, to die.
And I happen to have capitalized on a handful of the territories that Doreen was in control of before his unfortunate enlistment. So I have even more reason to thank you, Nimvile.
You are very welcome, Oscar. And it's like, would you like a drink as well?
I would adore a drink.
And he gestures over to the server as well, and just kind of like gives him a signal to run off and fetch Oscar a drink.
Yeah, just like points at Oscar and then like looks at him and just like looks expectantly, like with the shoulders. Just a total fucking asshole.
Okay, I like to think he doesn't actually ever look at the server. He just like puts a hand up and makes a gesture. So
Points at him and like points away like several times. Snaps. So, under what time frame can I expect my remuneration?
what was the agreement price?
Well, it was only a few hundred sten. But if you happen to have an alternative method of payment, I would be willing to accept offers.
And out of character. So,
Yeah.
what kind of stress would that be?
It's silver. Yeah.
Yeah,
In this
yeah,
game, right, no resources, so we just straight up take silver stress.
yeah. But I'm just curious of like, so you said it's 100 silver.
A few hundred sten. So I
few-
would say, yeah, it'll be like, I mean, it'll probably be a D8.
a D8. I can do that right away. It's like, of course, and it's like we didn't expect the payment. No, and he kind of just gestures over to not Nim, to Tatters, and I will go ahead and I will take that 1d8 stress.
Oi, I'm getting it. And she.
Cool. I actually have a +6 resist protection in my silver, so yes, I pay him right away.
Nice. Yoink. You manage to, produce enough silver, exactly the amount of silver you have on you, to meet his ledger that he pulls out. And he takes a second, pulls out like a personal size scale. Probably takes him like 5 to 10 minutes, and he's like heavily mouth breathing and drinking the whole time. Like not even trying to talk. Like if anybody tries to talk to him, he's like, hold on, I'm counting. I must focus. One moment.
Nim very much understands the situation. Just like make sure that it's like quiet. I know I
Okay,
forgot to
good.
mention it, but there was like a record playing, and he just kind of motions over to Tatters to just kind of like remove the needle while he's
Oh
counting.
yeah, her giant hand like grabbing the tiny like pulling it. Yeah, beautiful.
And and he just sits there, just relaxed, occasionally like, looking out into the crowd, seeing how things are going, then back at him as he's probably going through what's the Chinese calculator, the early
Not an is it an abacus? Is that right?
an abacus. Yeah. So yeah, he's got his oh god, he's got his balance and he's measuring with weight, and he's also going through all that. Yeah, and he's just very much just definitely
give me
grinning
respect.
under his veil.
Yeah, and you 100% manage to pay him off. He's satisfied. He counts it out, easy peasy. Drops it into his own coin pouch, and then hands his coin pouch over to his guard, who puts it in his coat. Well, I certainly did not anticipate such an immediate response. That is quite impressive, Nimvile.
It's like, I always take care of my friends and neighbors.
Oh, Nimvile, you've done such an astounding job at pleasing me. I think I have a little bit of gossip I could pass on between friends.
Oh,
I will have you know there's a certain aura in the air. Everyone with connections to the solar ones. They're a little anxious, you see. The solar basilica seems to have some sort of internal unrest. Seems they're having a vote.
very intriguing. Very intriguing.
The real trick of the matter seems that Archdeacon Many Sows the Seedlings hasn't disappeared. So, a new vote for Archdeacon Many Sows the Seedlings has gone nowhere. So it is extremely strange that this secret vote for the next Archdeacon is taking place. It seems that stress is echoing outward, and the guards are on high alert. Watch yourself, my friend.
And you, old friend, you watch yourself as well.
He stands up, finishes the dregs of his drink. Yeah.
Nim stands up as well, and I'm sure they give some sort of like special like Azurite handshake.
Yeah.
only
Maybe they
know.
just they exchange like equal value coins. Like in sort of like a both hands gesture. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm definitely down with that.
Yeah, like both you have a coin in your right hand, and then you like reach out and put it in the other person's left hand.
Yeah, exchange of the same coin. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that imagery.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and so you do the quick coin exchange. Yeah.
It does like a slight, like just kind of like head bob with his arms out wide,
Mhm.
almost like a kind of 1700 century or like a restoration kind of like bow, but he's not going like the full distance, just like
Yeah, it's not
up
dipping all
the
the way
edge.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure Oscar does the same. And
Yeah, definitely gives a different little. Yeah, but definitely gives you a little bow. And, Mayazor, watch over all your dealings, my friend.
and may Azor watch all of your dealings, my friend.
And he chuckles his way out of the room. and you two, yeah, chuckle. I will both love and loathe thinking about Nimvile this entire campaign. Yeah, let's move on to the one, the only Taylor. Please introduce us to the even lovelier Sinette.
So we're starting off in the Perch. Perch is this ramshackle town that is not in the Spire. It's strapped to the side of it. Sinette is walking through this jungle of wood, rope bridges, houses built on top of other houses, strapped together with nails, rope, and a lot of hope. It's not an easy place to live, but that's where Sinette calls home. And this confident woman, I would say, is transversing through these bridges, always making sure she has a handhold on something, multiple handholds. In fact, Sinette has 4 arms. You see, Sinette
Hell yeah.
is is a drow, but drow tend to have a spider-like ancestry, and some drow, mainly women, get more of that than others. So the midwives is what Sinette is. She has 4 arms. Her hair is a little bit thicker. She has 2 additional eyes above her where her normal eyes are. And the midwives take on a role of raising the eggs of the drows, because drows don't give birth normally. They produce these clear, translucent egg sacs that the midwives take care of by feeding them blood. So
It's like the children develop like almost like an outside placenta that midwives religiously and society-wise take care of.
So midwives are very important to the Drow society. Sinette herself, her visual description, she's normal height. Her hair is in a constant state of braids that go over the back of her head, filled with beads and feathers, and the beads tend to have these inscriptions on them. She also wears a headband made of thin rope that's weaved and knotted together to keep her hair out of her face. She also has rope bracelets that also have more beads on them. Those have inscriptions as well, and almost like someone would tie a jacket around their waist, their hips. Sinette also has more ropes, thin ropes, thick ropes around her waist as well. She wearing some, in today's sense, kind of like cargo pants and a tank top. As she makes her way through the perch, she passes a shrine to just some everyday objects, say a knife or a bag of rope. People are there worshiping them. And every time she crosses a bridge, she gives a quick prayer to that bridge, saying, "Thank you for keeping me safe today. Thank you for keeping our village together." Every time she walks by a beam, she thanks it for its sturdiness. And eventually she arrives at a small, very small clinic. From the outside, doesn't look like one. Just looks like another ramshackle house that's put together. People here and there wave to her, and she waves back. Some people bow their head in respect. But eventually she enters the clinic. So, who's our customers for today?
I do feel like there's another midwife that works here in this clinic with you, dude. We should maybe figure out a name.
I
right?
do have a midwife, kind of like where Sinette's the head of this clinic. I was thinking of a midwife that was more of a assistant.
Yeah, like your primary
Her
nurse.
name, her name is Ishve.
Ishve?
Ishve.
Ishve with a V.
Yep, Ishve. It's taking off of the spider god Ishkra.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so it relates to their past in a way.
Okay, fantastic. So let me write this down real quick. Yeah, I think it's pretty absent, save for Ishve, who is kind of slumped at a desk. I feel like she sort of has that like almost like that Ghibli Bob haircut, and probably fairly young midwife. I don't think she has the 4 eyes like you do, but I think she also has the forearm mutation. And I think she's holding her head in 2 of her forearms, kind of, like slumped on the desk, like kind of half awake. And she kind of jolts when you come in and say that, and says, "Oh, no one's in here. No one's the lucky ones."
Well, at least we'll have a relaxing day. And she goes over to one of the beams and takes off one of her ropes and ties it to it. For good luck.
Of course. It's good to see you,
And
Sinette.
she finds a place to sit down and kind of leans back and closes her eyes.
Awesome. And I feel like you can do that for like 45 seconds, something like that. Before you hear the fast, frantic footsteps, or small footsteps of something fairly light and fast approaching the clinic, really, really quick. And then, boom! Through the door, a little boy. You know him. He looks young for his age. He's probably 12 or 13, but looks like he could be 9 or 10. A drow, and he's holding his left hand, and you can see he's bleeding profusely, and it looks almost like he's missing a finger.
Oh, Pent. Oh, what'd you do this time?
I'm sorry. He told me that he was gonna kill me, Sinette. I had to fight back. I didn't think he'd swing.
Oh, Pent.
I feel like he kind of stumbles in, and no, I feel like you can see that he has a piece of his finger essentially in a cloth that he's kind of holding and trying to pin everything together.
Oh, let's not worry about that now. Get your hand over here so I can take care of it.
Yeah, and he stumbles over towards your work desk. Do you want to roll me give me a fix?
I would like to use one of my midwife abilities, which can...
Ooh.
Yeah, so the midwife ability, Canticle of Remaking, is where it's a spell that I use... let me just get the exact wording on that. So, confused. Yep, I use strands of silver magic that extends from my fingertips. Yes, I can bind... So she goes over to him, and ethereal webs begin to form in her hands. And she uses that to sew his flesh back together, his finger back to his hand, closing wounds and stopping bleeding.
Okay, fantastic. So is the context of the spell you don't have to roll fixes for stuff like this?
It's a spell that requires fix, but I just wanted to use it more thematically.
Awesome. No, that rules. Yeah, and I think this probably isn't the first time Pent has ever seen you do this, but he's definitely like in awe.
Now then, Pent, start from the beginning. I got a 9 on the spell, so we're good on that.
That'll do her.
What happened?
I slipped through one of the tunnels, okay, and I came out in the ivory row when I was hungry, and I took something. Somebody saw me, but I gave it back, but they still called a guard, and they caught me in the alleyway. I normally would have just run, but he was being an asshole, and he told me he was gonna kill me and a bunch of stupid stuff like that, and, I can't just let him step all over me.
No. You can't. It's good to stand up for yourself, Pent. But sometimes it's better to be the bigger person. I know you're trying to be abound. I know that you desire justice from them, but justice comes with a measure of responsibility.
Ow. Oh, I guess you're right, Sinette. Look, I pray every night to my ropes and my knife and to Mom, and I'm fed up with just doing that, Sinette. It doesn't feel like I can change anything. All I do is come back here with my finger cut off and make you heal me again, and you see starts to well up almost, and then sort of like he's at that age where he's just barely just turning into a teenager, but still has that child edge, and just starts to get that sort of child well up.
Hey. You can always come to me to get yourself fixed. I know that it feels like we're not doing a lot here. That on this perch we live on, sometimes our prayers aren't being answered. Each little thing we do, no matter how small, does something. Maybe that guard had a family. Maybe, Pent, you took away that family's only chance for food on their table.
Yeah.
I want you to think about that. This world sucks. It's dangerous. People will stab you over a piece of bread. And sometimes, maybe that guard deserved it. Maybe he didn't. You gotta figure that stuff out for yourself, Pent. You need to remember that every time you go out, every time you pray, remember that guard.
Okay.
Now, next time, don't get caught stealing. You can steal, of course, just don't get caught.
Oh, yeah. I'll be quicker next time. I guess you're right about the guard. I guess he could have had a family too. I wouldn't want to do to his kids what. Yeah. Kind of flexes his new finger, like not new finger, but his reattached finger. Wow. Jeez. Thanks, Sinette. I owe you quite a bit more than a finger.
Pay me back by being a good person, Pint.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent deal. Kind of gives you a little thumbs up, and then kind of looks over at Ishve, and then immediately like flushes beet red, and he's like, "Okay, it's good to see you, Ishve. Okay, I'll see you guys. Bye." And he just sprints out, runs out of the building, runs out of the clinic. Wow, that was a good one, Sinette. Kind of Ishve, finally a little bit awakened. Wow, that was pretty good, Sinette. That talk was impressive. You probably won't forget that one.
Hopefully it'll sink in.
I think it will.
The problem is he's sort of right. I see more and more like him who don't think they're making a difference. And they lash out, get themselves and others hurt.
But he was right, though. I mean, that guard stabbed a kid, Sinette. Tried to kill him, looks like. I mean, you don't take off a finger by accident.
No, probably did deserve it. But that wasn't the point. The point was that he think a little more before doing what he does. Oh, God. That kid never joined the Bound. Ugh, life would be a little easier around here.
Yeah, let's hope things work out for him. We could use a little more protection. He's got the right heart for it.
Think I need a drink. Still got some whiskey stashed under your desk that you think I don't know about?
Always.
Haha, throw it over here.
Shh. Pulls open a drawer. And as she tosses you the bottle and pulls out some small glasses, I feel like we can pull out from Perch. Unless you have any final moments.
No, I'm good. I feel like Sinette has been represented.
I feel like she's been represented very well. Fantastic. I adore Sinette. I adore all of you. Let's get on to the final one. Annie, could you please take it away?
All right, so I feel like we pan over from the Perch over to the Silver Quarter. And in the Silver Quarter, there's this really interesting sort of tavern where everybody meets called the Boathouse. And it's in this sort of glass-bottomed big room that's overlooking a canal. And this is where a lot of like scholars, like students from the High Elven Academy of Divine Magic will meet, and just generally people from high society and just from around the area as well. We'll play this game called Orbit that is consisting of wooden cogs, and it has to do with like logic, and apparently it has a lot of the same skill set, a lot of the same skills that you would need for espionage. So this is a popular ministry recruiting location. So yeah, we're at the Boathouse, and I feel like there's a group of students who have been playing Orbit, and everybody's like getting really quiet and tense, like, you know, the last couple of moments of a card game. And then finally, one of them cries out, "Ha! Won it again! Well, that's what all you get for trying to go up against me, the Orbit champion." Well,
oh, man.
you know that Breeze Through the Willow always pulls through in the end.
Yeah. And I think this is like the end of a series of games. And I think this is like sort of like a bracket, right? And you've beaten sort of the champ, and the champ is this sort of like diminutive nerd. Like his name is literally Twig. Also a university student, and he's a human. And I think most of the people here, like, there's a mix, but it's primarily Aelfir. So Twig, kind of, you know, after you float, kind of takes a second. He's like, that was a pretty good game.
You're damn right it was a good game, but, you know, you did pretty well, too. I have to admit, I was sweating there for just a moment. And I haven't described Willow. I just sent a picture into the chat. But yeah, she's about 5'10". She's an Aelfir. She's got, like, sort of light brown, reddish light brown hair. She wears a mask that's, like, almost like a doily looking. It's just very lacy, and it's got a bunch of ruffles around the edge. She has a big, expensive-looking, just very nice, custom-made coat that's a royal purple, and it's got a lot of, like, white, frilly details on it. And she carries with her this big black book all the time. And her mask is tied with a pale blue ribbon that some of you may recognize. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like Twig extends a hand, kind of so for like a gentleman's handshake for the end of the game.
Of course, she shakes his hand.
Hmm.
She's a lady. Well
Well.
played, after all.
Well played. Can I buy you a drink?
Do you mean like in a creepy sort of way, or are you just wanting to talk to me some more in like an orbit sort of way? Because I gotta be real, honey. I don't have time in my life. You know, I have so many obligations around the town. I'm such a busy lady. I really don't have time for a lover right now, although I am flattered.
Oh, okay. Well, I will just leave. And Twig kind of awkwardly shuffles off with like a little kind of nerdy salute.
Okay, bye, Twig.
And then I feel like another one of the Aelfir nearby. Maybe this is somebody you know. Her name is what's good? Like her name is Arya. Aria, right?
Okay.
Or at least that's what you call her.
Yeah.
And she's an Aelfir. And after Twig is kind of fully out of earshot, she kind of tucks in and says, "Well, that was certainly a way to treat that one."
Well, you know, it's just after so many advances, like the ones that I get every day of my life, you just sort of learn to shoot them down immediately. You know, less people get hurt that way. It's better for everyone, isn't it, Arya?
Oh, you're being absurd, darling. Are you seriously considering what that whelp was thinking?
I mean, what do you mean? Why would that be so?
I mean, couldn't you smell him across the table? I'm astounded you took that time out for that human dog.
Human dog? Is that what? You know, I'm interested to hear more about your point of view here, Arya. You're starting to make me a little bit angry. I gotta be honest. I just would like to hear a little bit more.
Well, weren't you just complaining the other night that he's taking up too many tables, that he's winning everywhere with these wily retro-engineered human garbage tactics he brings from the east?
Human garbage tactics. So you think that his uncouth manners have nothing to do with his upbringing, and all to do with what? Because his ears are shorter than ours? Is that what it is?
Well, it certainly doesn't help.
Oh, yeah. Do you realize how ridiculous you're being right now? Don't make me have this conversation with you again.
I feel like one of the other Aelfir, like, kind of peeks over, and they're like, are you defending the human stock?
And she, like, sits there, and I feel like she, like, tries to decide for a moment. Maybe her eyes are, like, looking wildly around, like, behind her mask, and she's just like, yes! Yes, I am! Do you have a problem with it?
Arya just kind of looks around. The guy that just talked kind of steps back, and you see the handful of humans that are still in this crowd, like eyes to the ground, not looking at you, not looking at them at all. Used to this sort of abuse, and then Arya cackles. Oh, you are the funniest student I know, Junie. I'm sorry, Jesus. The funniest student I know, Willow.
Really? Funny, oh, funny. Do you mean that? And I get a feeling you don't mean that in a humorous way. Wow, you are really making me mad right now, are you? If you don't want to... Listen. You have no idea where I have come from, what I grew up in, and I am not even going to begin to grace you with it, because you don't deserve it. None of you deserve it. And you know what? I bet that even the lowliest human is leagues out of your league, Arya, because you're disgusting and smelly, and your breath smells bad, and I never wanted to tell you. I can smell it even through your mask.
Fucking get him!
Bars. Bars. Do you leave? What do you do?
I feel like she just, like, sits there, and she's like, now leave.
What?
Leave! That's right, I'm not getting up after this. You get up, you leave. This is my bar. You were the one being rude. You know, you came up here. I was already sitting here. You came up to me afterward, and you started spitting all that bullshit, just out here hawking about.
And I feel like you feel
dogs.
it. You feel it on your shoulder.
What? I mean, yes, how can I help you?
And you look back and you see a masked figure, long black hair, straight and gorgeously maintained, resting over a tunic and cloak. And they lean in and whisper, "Why don't you come with me?"
You know, yeah, that's probably better than staying here and just sort of being angry and staring at the bar for a while. Yeah. See you later, Arya. I'm not.
And this woman leads you kind of back to a booth a ways away from here in the boathouse. Is that what it's called? The boathouse?
Yeah, the boathouse.
And yeah, you kind of get a window seat looking out onto the water. Well, that was quite the display.
Yeah, you could say it was. Listen, I'm not usually the type to make such a public scene of myself. I really am, but when there are just certain things that people say, and I just can't allow it to pass,
That is a peculiar opinion.
Being who I am, I'm just in a position, uniquely, to...
Now, I feel as if you should hold your tongue when speaking of that.
Speaking of... What, just me being an Aelfir? Because that was what I was referencing.
No. Your predilections towards other races. It seems you are not used to the attitudes of the Aelfir of the Spire.
Well, I knew that there was some prejudice. My daddy had told me that. And I guess it just hurts extra bad when it's from somebody you called a friend. And
Of course.
whenever it is, you want to get through to them, and I suppose you think even more that you can, so you sit there and you try your hardest, and sometimes I guess you get a little heated and tell them that the breath smells bad and you can always smell it through their mask. Oh boy, you're right, I really shouldn't make a scene of myself in public like that.
We all make mistakes. She lifts up her mask and you see that she's actually a drow. I have friends. Friends that think like you.
Really?
It's exceedingly rare for my friends to meet someone like you. But I can't tell you how valuable having an ear on the inside of Aelfir society could be to me and my friends.
So, do you want me to join in on your little clandestine organization or something like that? Well, I'm really not good at this sort of thing, but I'm very.
She pulls out a very small letter from her coat and slides it toward you. It slides it very slowly towards you as you're kind of gibbering.
Oh, why, thank you. Okay, she puts that in her coat pocket. I guess I'm supposed to read this later. That's probably the whole etiquette.
She slides your mask back down.
Hey.
Tomorrow evening.
All right.
I trust that your orbit skills and whatever other abilities you are hiding in that little coat of yours will prove to be valuable.
Yeah. I only hope that I can prove that they will be. It was a pleasure to make your acquaintance tonight. What can I call you?
Call me Nacien.
Nacien. You can call me Willow.
I will. And she slips out of the booth and disappears quickly out of the boathouse.
Nice. Yeah. I feel like, Willow just, stands there for a second, and then, kind of nods. And then, I feel like maybe then she, walks home with a renewed purpose. Before this, she had been really bogged down and, what the fuck am I doing with my life? And now that she's gotten this letter, she's like, oh, I can do something meaningful. So, yeah, I feel like she's got a bit of a spring in her step as she walks back toward her apartment in the Silver Quarter.
Awesome. And I presume you read the letter somewhere between those two events.
Yeah.
And you see that it just very simply has an address. And it is, to a meeting place for the next evening. And you see that it is a meeting place in Derelictus.
Derelictus. Well, I guess I should be fine going on my own. That should be okay. That should be fine. I'll be okay. I'll be fine. I have a gun. It'll be fine. She says this to herself, of course, in whatever alley she's in.
Do you think she's ever been to Derelictus?
No, but
okay, totally, yeah.
Heard the stories from
Okay, fantastic. And then everyone else. So I think all our intros today have taken place during the same day. And over the course of that day, after the events of our intro, you receive this exact same letter. Difference being, unlike Willow, all of you are used to receiving these. And if all of you could individually, I'm curious, I would like it to be individual as to how the Magisters reach you on your dead drop. It doesn't have to be something spectacular. It could just be a cleverly hidden mailbox or something, but I'm just curious. Let's see, who went first today. Nick, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I think Orn's a drunk. I think he's kind of a general bum.
Yeah.
And I think his dead drop wasn't so much formally established. I think it's literally just the corner of the back alley behind his favorite bar where he goes to throw up.
They just know he's always going to be there eventually.
Yeah. So I think he kind of, he's sulking in a bar somewhere, has a little too much to drink, stumbles outside, kind of falls to all fours in the alley, heaves up the stomach, wipes his mouth. Fuck. Ugh. And then, lo and behold, there's a small little letter, and he just kind of, oh shit.
Yeah. What if there's like it's like one specific part of like it's like bricks, right, and the molding, is that right? The stuff in between.
Yeah.
Like there's one specific part of the molding that's removed, and they just slip a letter in there, and like it's
Mhm.
like at eye level with you when you're at all fours throwing up.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Like he just takes it out and kind of plops up against the wall to read it.
And lo and behold, Derelictus. Difference is you know this address. This is a seedy little cafe hidden in a back corner of Derelictus. Kind of a shithole. But yeah, it's
What's it called, Alec?
What's it called?
I don't think I need to tell it quite yet. Bob,
All right.
could you tell me where you find this letter?
Yeah, so Gertrisa, like I was saying, she squats in one of these abandoned mansions in Ivory Row. And she has a contact, a fellow squatter by the name of Corville, who essentially she basically pawns stuff that she loots from her kills to this guy, and he's sort of a fence who sells this stuff. And I think whenever she goes to this dude after a hit, if there are incoming messages from the ministry, that's where she gets them from.
Freaking fantastic. So yeah, you find that same letter. Yeah, I feel like so right, we've talked the ministry does not have regular teams per se, with a few exceptions. But I do think you see the same magister. You just don't typically work with the same group of people regularly. But you tend to see every once in a while, you'll see the same people, just never the exact same combination of people. But yeah, I think you've worked under Nacien before. And I think you also know this cafe. Okay, and then Randy, where do you feel like you get your dead drops? Where do you feel like Nimvile?
I had two ideas of thought for this, but I think I'll go with this one. That he is walking through the blue bazaar with tatters and essentially a figure that looks almost like a ne'er-do-well. A hood kind of bumps into him, but instead of pickpocketing him, it slips the letter into his robes and just walks away.
Nice. I love that. Yeah. You discover the letter, of course. I think same things as previous. You've worked with Nacien before. You know this cafe. I feel like Nimvile hates it.
Oh, and you said it's in Derelictus?
It's in Derelictus.
Oh, he hates even going beneath.
It's Spitz's.
Yes, it's Spitz.
I fucking know what it is.
Well, it's not a secret. Come on.
Yeah, he crumbles up the letter to the point that he's just squeezing his fist so much that blood droplets start dropping from his hand. He just hates it so much. He's just like, mother fucker. And just snaps his finger, and Tatter just grabs a random purse. He's like, you owe me money, and just shakes him, takes the coin and walks away.
Piece of shit. I love him.
If I didn't know we were going to Derelictus before. Okay. And then finally, Taylor, where's your dead drop?
So Sinette, after spending most of her day at the clinic, she's the last to leave after Ishve, and she locks the door not really much to lock up.
Yeah, like
But-
a chain or something. Yeah.
Like a chain. And she makes her way back to probably this one bed apartment. But on her way there, a sparrow comes and flies down and lands on her shoulder. He looks at it and is like, "Hello there, Shauna. Is it that time again already?" And scratches it on the head. And she reaches over and takes a small letter tied to the
Little ankle.
claw, the ankle of this small bird, and
It's the
opens
tiniest
it up.
little letter. Yeah, you get the tiniest letters in the world. It's like a
It's
half
so
inch
sweet.
wide. Yeah, it's so
They're like
small.
fortune cookie fortunes.
Like half the width of a fortune cookie. Like half the height of a fortune cookie.
Very
But
small.
Oh, to
unbelievably
be a small sparrow delivering letters to a spider lady.
Perch is actually known for its carrier pigeons and stuff like that. Pigeons,
Oh, yeah.
doves, ravens, sparrows.
Oh yeah, but those guys are big. Didn't you say a sparrow?
Yeah.
No, like it rules. A sparrow's perfect, but sparrows are like half the size of those other guys.
Yeah, I know, but it's one of the things that the dovecote raises and uses as carrier pigeons.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome. You're gonna get the tiniest little carrier sparrows in the world with the tiniest
That
little
is
letters.
so.
Sparrier.
It fits
Anytime.
in it. Like it's so sweet.
A medical murder spider Disney princess.
Yeah.
And you get the letter. I feel like maybe of the bunch, maybe you haven't really worked with Nasia a bunch. I feel like you've definitely worked with the Ministry, so I feel like this is probably maybe this is new for Sonette. This address.
Maybe the address, yes.
Yeah, not Derelictus and Hull. You've probably been there before, but yeah, just this specific cafe. Don't want to let Willow be the only one.
Well, good night, Shauna. And she flicks the bird back into the air.
And it twiddles away. Yeah, and I love the little bird.
Mhm.
I feel as if, for the sake of the story happening, everybody responds to this call, right?
Yep.
And one by one, you make your way
Actually,
in.
no, I'm gonna stay home.
Okay, cool. Thanks for joining us, Bob.
Yeah, bye,
If
guys.
you wouldn't mind leaving the call, thank you.
Yeah,
all
no
right. So
problem.
anyway,
I showed up for the intro. I thought I'd have a lot of fun with that, but the rest of the game, I'm not too keen on.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to tell you guys. About Gertruisa. I don't actually want to do anything with her.
Yeah, that's cool. I like character creation too. Then you just don't.
Yeah. Playing games is stupid.
Fuck games.
Yeah. Fuck games. Games are for babies.
Baby games. That's a fact.
Baby.
Baby.
Okay. So you all make your way one by one to a horrendous little cafe in the back of Derelictus called Spitz's. This is a dingy eatery in a dingy part of a dingy city. Derelictus sits at the base of the Spire, between Spire proper and the Heart, which is the city beneath, a civilization in its own right, probably ultimately larger than the civilization of the Spire, but fractured and twisted and generally unrecognizable in ways that make that sort of census gathering impossible. So Derelictus is sort of this port in a sea of unreality, and most of its citizens reflect that, because most Derelictus citizens don't go up Spire. Most people up Spire do not go to Derelictus, with, of course, exceptions. And you guys get the lovely, lovely honor of traveling down the mini vertical trams leading down to Derelictus in the pit it sits in, and making your way back to the cafe. And when you get in, you're greeted by a large, gruff man. Since you're arriving roughly around the same time, I think as you approach, he recognizes where you're going. Who arrives first, do you think?
Maybe honestly, maybe Willow. I feel like she's like really excited and arrives like almost an hour early.
Willow does seem that type.
Yeah, she's definitely
I feel like Orin gets there like right on time.
Yeah, punctual. So, okay, Willow's first. So, yeah, you show up, and lo and behold, yeah, there's a hulking behemoth of a man in a little apron. Hello.
Hello there. I'm supposed to meet some people here. Do you know anything about that?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. Oh no. Is there a secret code or something? Oh no. I'm sorry, sir. Give me just one moment. Oh, what was your name, sir? I'm terribly sorry. I've been terribly rude, haven't I?
Are you terrorist?
Uh, well, well,
You are
no,
doing
sir.
this character such justice.
No, sir. I cannot say that I have committed any terroristic acts to date.
Are you meeting with terrorists?
Maybe.
Okay. Back room. It kind of points us.
What's your name?
Gregory.
Oh. Well, somehow you seem very familiar to me. I have no idea what it is. You're striking a soft place in my heart. Did you?
He kind of squints at you. He kind of squints at you for a second, and he's like, I recognize accent.
You still stuck in a restaurant here in Derelictus.
Mm.
Did you know Weave Silk Facade? That's my daddy.
Mm,
Oh no.
yes.
You what?
Oh no.
You what?
You are daughter of Weave Silk Facade.
Why, yes, I am. Why, can't you see it in my aspect and my beautiful coat? He made this coat for me. Can't you see it? Why, Gregory, it's so great to make your acquaintance. I'm gonna have to ask Daddy all about you. I'm sure he's got stories on stories on stories. Why, we're gonna be best friends. Yes, we are, Gregory. I'm gonna sit in this room and I'm gonna talk to you until my friends get here. And there's nothing you can do about it, Gregory. Please tell me with stories of my daddy. Tell me about my daddy and mama and how they interacted, please.
Want to do that, please.
Anyway, and I feel like, yeah, until the next person gets here, Willow just bothers Gregory.
Who did Facade do it with?
Oh, buddy,
Motherfucker.
don't
the
you
mystery.
fucking worry about that. That's definitely not Willow's plot or anything.
Okay.
I was wondering why it was all the secrecy. There it is.
Yeah.
We give the listeners background on what that is, or
I really don't want to. Yeah, I really don't want to. I think it's fun to just leave them in the complete dark.
Maybe it's
Okay.
fine without the context.
No, I'm joking, guys.
It's an
No,
inside
yeah,
joke that they'll never learn.
it's a running inside joke that's just going to be confusing. Yeah, essentially, Willow is the daughter of a previous character of in our Heart campaign, and yeah, we're sort of running this with the intention that this is sort of like an alternate universe, a variation of the same version of the Heart that we run in a separate campaign. So we're using some similar places and names and characters and that sort of thing. So yeah, Gregory and Spitz, and yes, Facade are all from previous game. There you go.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like Gertrisa has been to Spitz's.
Oh yeah, I think
so-
of anybody. You're the only one that would make sense to just hang out in Derelictus and like actually not mind it very much.
Yeah, so I think she yeah, I feel like she's the second to arrive. I think she enjoys Gregory's company, so
They seem like a good pair.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Gregory is much older, of course. He's probably, I mean, in our previous iterations, we've seen him. I've imagined like late 30s or 40s kind of thing. He's probably in his early 60s now in this context. So gray, thinning hair, that sort of thing. Just a
Yeah.
hulk of a Slavic man, but getting elderly, just young elderly.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think she comes down to the front. And she just walks in through the front door with Belvin underneath his shroud on his leash. And she just sort of walks in and goes, "Oh, hello, Gregory. How are you doing this fine morning?"
See you.
"Oh, you really are a darling. Say, do you know where the organization is meeting?"
Yes. Back room.
Are you with the organ? Willow was kind of standing here, just kind of watching. Like she was mid-sentence. I feel like when Gertrisa came in, and she just kind of stopped and like was kind of in awe, watching to see if maybe this is one of her new.
"Oh, good morning, darling. I don't believe I've met you before. Good Teresa, at your service.
See.
Good Teresa, I have treat for weird dog.
Oh, do you hear that, Belvin? You have a treat. Oh, you really are a darling, Gregory.
Yes. And he throws out, like a little bone from his apron, like a kind of little bit of meat still stuck to it.
Yeah, and Belvin is, he grabs it, and I think his tail's just wagging like crazy, and he's just going to town on this bone as Gertruisa gets seated at the table.
So you go to the back, right?
Oh, but
Yeah.
as soon as Gertruisa says she's like a member of this organization, Willow like kind of tacks onto us like, hello, are you also with the organization? Because I mean that's why I'm here too. Are we supposed to meet out here? Can I follow you? Can I follow you to the table?
Oh, don't worry at all. You must be new. Just follow me, darling.
Okay, I'm Willow, by the way.
Very nice to meet you, Willow. My name is Gertruisa. I'm sure it will be a pleasure working with you. And she just sort of hobbles to the back after a bit of small talk with Gregory.
Nice. Yeah.
I feel like who arrives? I feel like Sinette is probably early, right?
Sinette arrives when she arrives. She's neither early nor late. She just gets there.
She just will. All right,
Yeah.
cool.
But if you want me to arrive, I will arrive.
Hey, it's up to you. I was just a thought.
Yeah. Okay, Sinette does get there then. She walks into the restaurant, looks around for a second, looks at Gregory and says, "The back room?" "Yeah, the back room," and then walks anyways.
Yes. Okay. And then, do you feel like Nimvile gets there before?
After Orin.
After? I felt like he was late too.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it, but okay, yeah, Orin, you're there, dead on time.
Yep. Yeah, he just kind of shuffles on in. Hey, Gregory. How's it going? Cool. Yeah, let me grab a couple stinky waters off you real quick and keep them coming, I think. We just meeting in the terrorist room like usual, or is it a different deal this time?
Yes. I will
All right.
stinky water.
Cool. Much appreciated, my friend.
Always.
And then, yeah, just kind of give a little pat on the counter and walk to the back room.
Yeah, heck yeah. And then finally, fashionably late as always, good old Nimvile.
Nimvile was actually did arrive at a decent time in Derelictus, but he stood near the train leading down to the Remisian tunnels and just stood looking down the railing into this pit. He just stood there, almost like 1,000 yards there, looking down to the pit for a while.
Come on,
Then,
Nim. You know that's not good for you now.
it still calls to me, even to this day. And he just
Right.
takes a couple steps back and just makes his way over. And then there's this fucking shit heap.
Aye, it's not a good one at all. Honestly, I'd rather go down into the hearth than go back in there.
I'll take the shit heap over the heart. I don't. Fuck. Looks back down the pit. Fuck.
It's a hard one, I know.
He's just all right. I'm calm. I'm cool. I'm collected.
Yep, Tatters like immediately just sticks out a flask, like an open flask, like wordlessly.
He doesn't even look. He just takes it underneath the veil. Like actually finally raises his head up. Like you just never see the flask. You just see him lifts his head and arm comes up from underneath the veil and just hands it back. Fine, let's go. Let's make it quick. It still smells like shit down here. Fine, we're going over to the fucking shit heap.
Damn it.
God
Oh.
damn it.
Alright, let's do it,
Zor,
boss.
give me strength.
Also, I'll help too. And then,
He just flips a coin, and it's obviously a rig, fake. It's both heads, it's not gonna go. And there's I just think Tatters just turns him the direction, fuck. Fine, I'm going. He's like just flailing. So all you see is like I just imagine he's almost like cousin It with like how many robes he is. So he's just like flailing these like robes around and like a head just bobbing up and down. He's like, fine. And the arms finally
Turns
come
into
up.
like an angry, demented version of like the little things from Journey, just like the
Yeah,
robe people.
very much so. Just very
Yeah.
much
Oh,
like
God.
that.
Yeah,
It's like, fine.
that's adorable. That's an adorable mental image. I know that's not quite the intention, but oh man, I love to imagine like a chibi version of Nimvile with Tatters just like holding him down by the head. Calm
Yeah,
yourself.
He approaches over to the shit heap. Just, oh God.
Hello.
There's still the sign with the gazpacho. Gazpacho is served cold, not hot, you imbeciles. Oh, the eels. I can smell the... God, I fucking hate this. Like, so continue, like, looking around. Hi there, Gregory.
Hello.
Ah, yes, terrorist room in the back. I got you. It's not my fist.
Just stumble through muttering. Tatters behind you. Sorry, mate. It's no problem. Yeah, you make it back to the room where you find a full back room with the exception of course your Magister. And
God, look at all these cucks.
Gregory, could you get some gazpacho soup back here? Oh, Willow, you really must try the gazpacho soup. It is splendid.
Gazpacho
Cold soup.
Why, don't mind if I do. Hey, cold soup is a delicacy. I will not have you slander it.
It has its time and place.
Yeah, and its time and place is here in my belly now.
Why, it's nice to see you too, Nimvile.
Always a
God.
pleasure.
Yes, I do feel that I have not been properly introduced to the group yet, so I feel that I will take that onus upon myself right now. Hello, everybody. My name is Breeze Through the Willow. This will be my first spy meeting, and I'm very excited to be here today. Wow, that sounded. Anyway, who all might you be?
Oren. Name's Oren.
Well, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Oren.
I'm Gregory.
Yes, yes, Gregory. I know it's still
Saying
good
that
to see you, Gregory.
as he's walking in with the plates of with the dishes of gazpacho.
It's sticky one. You're welcome.
Stinky water.
Yes.
What? Is it just?
Alcohol.
Oh, okay. Now that makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you never had a stinky water before?
I know. I have to say, it sounds quite strange to me to name a drink stinky
I'll
water,
slide
but
one across the table.
I am intrigued.
Just try it.
Well, okay, if you insist.
Yes,
She
joke.
takes a little sip and she's like,
Yes, joke, name.
Sister Spring, this is
Mhm.
life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
Gregory, dear, if I could also get one of those stinky waters, I'd love it.
Yes, I will get you too.
Oh, and sorry, wrong voice. Gregory, please procure me and Tatters as well one of your stinky waters.
So, is that your name?
And I
Like, very
insist on
nice
a
to
bendy
meet you.
straw.
And,
Last
sir,
time
I
you
don't
gave me
believe
one.
I've gotten your name yet.
I've been this straw.
Sir?
Bendy straw. Loopy one if you have one.
You, sir, with the blue robes? I've been trying to strike up a conversation.
Hi, lass. This is Nimvile. I'm Tatters. It's good to meet you. Look, we're not one for formalities. At least I'm not. He plays pretend.
Well,
I'll let that one slide.
Hey.
He really is just a sourpuss. Don't pay him any mind, dear.
Okay,
If
thank
I
you.
had an army, I would destroy all of Derelictus.
Yes, that's very nice, Nimvile.
I mean, you could try. Derelictus is kind of like a cockroach. You
Mhm.
crush it and it just pops back up again.
I'll get something stronger.
I don't believe I've caught your name, miss.
Ah,
Yeah.
you may call me Sinette.
Miss Sinette, is it? It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance as well.
Pleasure. Magie Willow, do you know why you're here?
Do you mean In particular, or in general, or in sort of like a spiritual sense, or...
You just strike me as the kind of person who doesn't know the kind of things we do around here.
Well, yes, I suppose there are some things that I would not be as inclined to know, having not been in the Spire as long as many others. See, I am an exchange student of sorts. Well, I guess I just came from outside of the Spire to go to the university that ended up not working out for me. So here I am. So yes, I suppose you're right that there are some things that you are bound to know that I do not. I hope that does not deter any of you from thinking of me as a worthy teammate.
And then from the shadow, from the edge of the room, a figure steps out. And of course, Willow recognizes her, and those of you that have worked with Nocien before recognize her as well. You would be wise to learn to watch your tongue to such a degree, girl.
You have to do that every time, boss?
Well, you learn how to do it. You kind of want to do it for effect, right?
My nerves are shot. It might be nice, just give a little knock.
I am currently still sitting here quaking in my boots, and I quite enjoyed the dramatic effect, so...
I think it was phenomenal, Magistrate. Excellent work as always.
It gets a little boring after the 5th time.
Well, Sinette, it wasn't for you, was it?
Oh, I don't mind me. I like poking fun at you.
Yes, Sinette. What would we do without you? She looks up to Gregory coming in the room, kind of with another plate of stuff, and he nods at her. She nods at him. He nods at her. She nods at him. And then he wordlessly begins to pass out the stuff. Everyone ordered.
Well as we can be.
I don't believe we've gotten around to food yet, but we don't necessarily have to, I feel like maybe we're not going to... You can go ahead with whatever you were going to say, I feel like.
Excellent. Gregory, could you give us some privacy? Yes. And passes out the last of the stinky waters and gazpacho soups, etc. And slips his way out. Closes the door behind him, and you hear the lock behind him. Takes a second, but you can see a faint glimmer, and then a rune lights up along the front of the back of the door. It's just in a big zigzag, kind of arcane, runic pattern. And you feel this sort of almost like a distant shockwave or something like that. There. That should assist us in our secrecy. Thank you for joining me, everyone.
Well, thank you for having me.
Sure. So what's up? What's the plan this time?
I can't say this is a simple one. This is prolonged engagement, and you're one of many cells operating all on the same general operation. Have any of you heard rumors of issues in the Basilica?
There has been some word that has come to my attention.
Among the Azorites?
Yes.
Well, if word has reached you, it's certainly going to hit the rest of the city like wildfire. There are newcomers to the block, a splinter faction of solar pantheon worship that disappeared several hundred years ago after a very, very complex series of internal religious conflicts in the north. I don't believe I have the time to get into, but the result of the conflict, the 4 facets of the solar pantheon as they stayed, and this secret 5th facet of the pantheon has been wiped almost entirely from Aelfir textbooks. It seems these weirdos want to bring him back to the forefront.
Oh my, that is quite something.
Are these particular people dangerous?
Yes. There has never been more paladin operation within Spire and within the Vermissian tunnels. This is one of the highest levels of caution we've ever had to extend, and if we don't get our thumb quickly onto what is happening on the inside of the Basilica, who knows what could spill out.
So what would you have us do, Magistrate?
Individually, you are to investigate the arrival of the Forefathers. The name will be whispered. They're not publicly presenting as this, but in the back alleys I know we can find ourselves in between you.
What do these forefathers look like? Any descriptions that we can go off of?
No. You're not going to be able to get visuals on them. You're going to have to dig. find where they live. But we do have one lead. A deacon of the Solar Basilica seeking election. One heralds the sunrise.
Heralds the sunrise. Tatters, write that down, and then
I'm writing.
realizes his mistake and is like, shit, give it to me.
Yeah, she can't read, but she definitely was scribbling on paper.
We're still working on the alphabet, I'm sorry.
Look, it's just not important, is what I'm saying. Nosian looks over at the rest of the crowd. So, any further questions?
Yes, I am wondering. Sounds like the gravity of this mission is rather severe. Are you sure that we should have, not to be rude, dear, but one of them?
Oh, that's what. Okay, this is understandable, everybody. I feel that I should address this really. I do hope that. Actually, hold on, time out. Are there other people in this
No.
room? Okay.
Just us, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like she takes off her mask. Actually.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, and she's like, "Now, listen. I know that you all may have some understandable preconceptions about Aelfir, and after
Yes.
some of the things that I've heard some of my so-called peers say, I can't say I blame you in the slightest, but I'm not from the Spire. I don't agree with any of the power structures here, and that's why I'm here fighting with you all, and I don't expect any of you to trust me right off the bat, but I only hope that in time I can prove myself a loyal and worthy friend, and, at the very least, maybe a co-worker. At the very least, maybe you can start to trust me a little. That's all I hope.
Also, we've been surveying her for several weeks and seeing all her communications in and out of Spire. There's no threat posed by her, we assure you.
Oh, that's good. Do that. I'm, always one step ahead. I knew.
We need an Aelfir. Someone on the inside. She will do.
It will be useful for us. Yes. Very well, then.
Aelfir that doesn't share the ideas. It is fine. As long as she helps, then I am good with any individual.
Don't let these people being so insensitive. Just so long as you're up to it, you'll...
Well, I thank you, Gertruisa, for your sensitivity, but they do have a right. I perfectly understand where they're coming from. She's, clearly uncomfortable, maybe, blushing and sweating a little. And she just, puts her mask back on, and she's like, well, anyway, I suppose I'll just prove myself to you in time, then.
Yes, you will.
She nods.
I expect if you find any information, to leave it in this dead drop. She whacks a brick in the back of the wall, and it slides in. And then, you see another one of the bricks pops forward, shwink, and reveals itself to be a little tiny drawer. In here, message form. It'll be passed on and burned, don't worry. Remember, leave no names, no traces, and be careful of anyone you let into this information. Any further questions?
Let's go stop the big scary forefathers then, right?
Oh, but first we must wait on... The gazpacho soup is not yet here, Sanet.
Oh no, there's a sound ward on this room. I don't think we can hear Gregory now. Hold on. She kind of steps over to the door and taps the rune off and opens the door really quickly. She's just standing there with the tray. I was standing for a while.
Gregory.
I'm terribly sorry, Gregory.
At least we don't have to worry about the soup getting cold.
That is... That is...
Gregory thought it was funny. See, Gregory, I like you. I can tell. That's why I said we're going to be friends. It's going to be perfect.
You remind me of your dead.
Oh, Gregory.
It's barely a compliment.
Well, I'll take it as one. Thank you.
Who is your father?
Why do you ask?
A certain resemblance and accent.
My
Started to
daddy.
pick up.
My daddy is none other than Weave Silk Facade, if you must know.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh, I get that response more often than you might think, actually.
No,
I,
not surprised.
I'll give him this. He does know how to make fine robes. Just kind of like flows his robes.
Why, yes, he does. I would recognize my daddy's work anywhere. That's just marvelous. What are the odds? What a small world. Why, he designed this jacket for me too. Well, I designed it, and he tailored it from my design with just a few tweaks. Anyway, how exciting that is, Nimvile.
Gregory put some soup and some drinks down, a few more plates of food now. Is there anything else?
Oh, no, Gregory, just your continued support and friendship.
Leave the bottle.
Okay. And, Gregory makes his way out, leaves the fucking bottle of stinky water. Yes, he leaves a pitcher of stinky water?
I'm just imagining like
Pitcher.
this other alcohol, and he just he just points to something. He's like, leave it.
Okay, yeah. It's like he's like pouring a glass of wine for Nocien. It just leaves the bottle. Nocien kind of grabs the glass of wine, takes a sip, goes, delicious, and then just fucking slams the rest of it in like 3 gulps.
Yeah, I think
Wow,
throughout
Nocien.
this scene, as Nocien has, like, every time she kind of like made clear the severity and like the difficulty of the mission, I think Orin was just pounding entire stinky waters.
This man is 6 stinky waters deep.
Willow's still just tentatively sipping on her first, maybe like a fifth into it, like, wow, these are really strong, huh? Just like dumb. Lightweight.
I'm just petting my dog.
Look, just please give it to me. Just tell me it's cool when I get back. And she shadow walks out, whoop, through the shadow in the corner.
So cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, she really is something, isn't she?
Sticks her head back out. Thank you. And then leaves.
Oh, you're welcome, dear. Oh, wow, she's mystical.
I've heard other Azurites talk about wine being served in a box, but I never thought I'd see it right here in front of me.
Hey,
The holy
Best
Azurite
kind.
sacrament.
How quaint.
I don't know if I should feel sick, appalled, or I don't know what I should feel.
just enjoy it for what it is. Let me tell you, there is nothing in this world better than sitting in an alley nursing a box of wine.
I just,
Can't think of a better image to end this session on.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And there's two nodding at each other like
I've done my share of riffs.
Yeah, and then I think Orin's just gonna grab the box and leave. See you
he
guys
takes
around.
the bag out of it and slaps it and walks out with it's like,
Yeah, just
what?
see you guys around.
What?
As he's walking, lets the fucking nozzle loose.
That man has incredible power.
Incredible depression, more like it.
Thank you for joining us on this, our first episode of the Savage Godlings. Please bear with us as we make do under the troubling circumstances of COVID-19, and as our creators learn the audio editing process in real time. Please, if you enjoyed the show, follow us at Savage Godlings on Twitter, and tune in next week as we continue our adventure into the Spire and the heart below.